So 6 laps done then for the X30 Minis, and that is the end of their first qualifying heat. They will take a breather, and we will move on to the next category, and that is the X30 Super Shifters. I'm right this time, so we will talk about them in earnest now. We mentioned that Carlos Leon is leading the pack in the Super Shifters after qualifying yesterday. This is his first weekend in the category, would you believe? He was telling us yesterday he's never really driven these karts in anger before. Certainly not in a competitive event, and certainly not at international level. So he's done very well indeed to beat the more experienced drivers in the category, and that's proof that there's definitely a lot of talent in young Carlos Leon. Nicolas Rohrwasser is alongside him on the front row of the grid from his 2 Swiss teammates, Kevin Ludi and Philip Siever. The Estonian, who was really strong in early practice yesterday, Kasper Korjus, finds himself in 5th position. And alongside him, it is Antti Rameau, his countryman, although they are in different teams. Sten-Dorian Peremagi finds himself in 7th position alongside Michel Biffiger, who's racing under a Swiss license, but he is Japanese in origin. And João Dias, the Portuguese racer on the Birolart chassis, finds himself in 9th position. So those are the only 9 we have in this class, but they are very closely matched, so we should get some pretty intense racing from these guys. And that will give us a nice little warm-up to the second round of heats, which will be led once again by the X30 seniors. And that race will be coming up at about 12:10 local time. It is 11:44 local time here in Valencia. And the racing has been going very strong indeed for the last hour and 45 minutes or so. And we've had some pretty incredible racing as a result of what was a very strong day of practice and qualifying yesterday, and what promises to continue to be a really strong race today. Once again, great racing here at the IAME Winter Cup, the second running of the IAME Winter Cup here. Fantastic work by everybody here at the circuit, from everybody at the RGMMC staff and everyone at the Cartodroma Valencia. Here at the Cartodroma Lucas Guerrero, it is a wonderful facility, and the sun has come out to start baking the circuit to a crisp. It is a wonderful, wonderful place to come racing, right here in the hills of Valencia. It's a lovely, lovely part of the country here in Spain, just off to the southeast of the country. A wonderful facility for racing this as well. And it is a magnificent set of races we have in front of us. We've already done 6 races. We have another 16 to go. My math is appalling when I haven't had my bacon sandwich. Anyway, we're going to have an amazing set of races for you. The next one comes from the X30 Super Shifter. Carlos Leon and Nicolas Rohrwasser on the front row of the starting grid for that one, as we mentioned. Let's talk you through the grid in a bit more detail once more as we wait for the time to tick down. Carlos Leon on the front row of the starting grid, along with Nicolas Rohrwasser in the front row. Switzerland is occupying the entirety of the second row as well. Kevin Ludi and Philip Siever. Then we have Kasper Korjus of Estonia alongside his countryman Antti Rameau. Sten-Dorian Peremagi is there in the 4th row alongside Michel Biffiger. And João Dias of Portugal finds himself on the 5th row on his own. Great battles from these cars. These are the most intense of the karts here this weekend to drive, because as well as being a true X30 racing kart, like the others are, of course, in the other classes, the difference being is that these ones are gearbox karts. So not only have you got to try and deal with all of the pendulum swinging of your body through every single corner and apex, you've also got to change gear at exactly the right moment as well. And that adds its own technical challenge to all of the racing that we're going to see over the course of the day. And these are absolutely spectacular karts, these. It's a shame we only have 9 of them, really, because if we had 18 or so, then we'd really have an amazing noise coming off that start-finish straight. But even 9 of them can still give a pretty hefty battle, and we get some really good racing from the gearbox karting world. Hopefully in time for next year, the Super Shifter grid will be much bigger, ready for the 3rd IAME Winter Cup. And if things are currently going in the growth rate that we currently have from last year's event, where we only had 58 karts on the grid last year, well, this year we have over 150, so that's a 300% increase in last year's entry list. It's absolutely astonishing, and well done to everybody who has arrived, turned up, and put in an amazing job, from the staff to the drivers, the circuit staff and the competitors and all of the teams. It's great to see so many fantastic and enthusiastic faces, and the atmosphere here is incredibly pleasant in and out of the paddock. It's absolutely amazing to see so many people integrating and playing with each other, all of the kids mucking about on scooters and mopeds and whatever it is that they've got with them. They're doing an absolutely fantastic job of integrating with each other. I've seen many games of football over the course of the weekend as well, mostly when the parents aren't looking, but that's all fine and dandy. It's great to see so much incredible competitive spirit and fun and games around the Valencia circuit here in the IAME Winter Cup. And great to see so many drivers with a very positive attitude coming into this weekend as well. They all just want to do their very best, see what they can achieve, and hope that it leads to something bigger. A lot of drivers competing in Europe for the very first time this weekend, don't forget. And so this is a real step into the unknown for them all. They're doing a great job under the circumstances. And even though there is high pressure and high focus to do well, it's great to see that an awful lot of motivation has been kindled here this weekend. And there's a lot of drivers who really want to turn this into something pretty spectacular. It precedes the IAME European Series, of course, with 4 rounds over the course of the 2018 season. For all the details, do head to the website, iameeuroseries.com. But there are 4 rounds in the championship over the course of the year at Salbris in France in March. Then we move on to Marienburg in Belgium in May. And then we move on to the 3rd round of the championship, which is in Wackersdorf in Germany. Fantastic circuit at Wackersdorf. And then the final round of the championship is in August at the magnificent Laghi Siete, which is the magnificent Castelletto circuit in Italy for the 4th and final round of the IAME Euro Series in what promises to be an incredibly competitive year. This event is basically a one-off warm-up for the European Series, and as warm-ups go, it doesn't get much better than this, to be honest. The racing has already been pretty feisty, and that was only the first race for each competitor. We haven't even seen the best of it yet. The whistle goes, and it's time for the X30 Super Shifters to head out for the first of 10 laps. Who will topple at the start of the event? Carlos Leon looks very strong. Kevin Ludi is obviously going to be an interesting one over the course of the day. How will he fare? We will find out. Nicholas Rohrwasser apparently is not starting on the front row of the grid, according to the list I've got in front of me. I wonder if Nicholas Rohrwasser has had some times deducted. We did see a few drivers who that has happened to over the course of the weekend. Obviously, he was second fastest in the times yesterday, but it looks to me as though he is no longer starting from that position. Every other position appears to be correct. So I think he's had some times deducted. We're on the formation lap now, though, for the X30 Super Shifters, and that is absolutely correct. Carlos Leon will be joined on the front row now by Kevin Ludi, with Philip Siva and Kasper Korjus on the second row of the grid from Antti Rameau and Sten Dorian Pirimagi, Michel Bifiger, Nicolas Rohrwasser and Joao Diaz. So the drivers now make their way around the circuit. And it is going to be an interesting one for that front row of the grid. Kevin Ludi, who was so impressive last time. Can he continue to do so again here this weekend? It will be a tough one, and there's going to be some great racing over the course of the next 2 days. But we'll start it in the X30 Super Shifters with an awful lot of noise as well. You'll get that incredible vibe that these karts give off in terms of the noise and spectacle on the start line from these karts. They do make a lot more noise than any of the others. As I said, it's just a shame we don't have more of them because they are very spectacular indeed. And I've noticed there's actually quite a lot of drivers and team personnel from the other 3 classes who have actually come along to watch just because these karts are so spectacular. It's basically gearbox karting for those who want to make a career out of the world of karting rather than to move into the world of car racing, because there are still many people over the course of competition in the world of karting who believe that this is not a feeder for anything, this is the pinnacle. And for those who believe that, gearbox karting is as high as it gets. You get the world of Super Shifter and Superkart, and this is basically as good as it gets. And I've spoken to many a driver who races in the class of Super Shifter or Superkart, and they tell me that this is as close as you can get to racing in Formula One without being in the F1 paddock. It really is absolutely amazing in terms of the intensity, in terms of the speed, the noise, the essence of competition. It is pretty astonishing stuff. So the drivers will make their way around, and of course it is also the most intense of starts, as the drivers will make their way around the circuit, because the drivers will come around on the formation lap and then form up on the starting grid, I do believe, the X30 Super Shifters. I may be wrong in that. I missed, unfortunately, the driver's briefing for the Super Shifters. Was present for all the others, but I was walking the circuit at the time when the Super Shifters were having their driver's briefing yesterday. But the drivers will come around with Carlos Leon, the local hero, on the front of the grid. It is Leon, Ludi, Siva, Kojus, Ramo, Petimagi, Bifiga, Robasa and Diaz. And the drivers do indeed come around for a standing start. And as you can see, all of the other teams and drivers and personnel are watching on the pit walls and on the starting gantries because they want to see a good start here. Standing start, the only class that does it. Engine revs rise. We're ready for racing. Now! What a start off the front of the grid for Kevin Ludi. An amazing launch. Not the best of getaways for Carlos Leon. He drops into 4th position in the end. And it's a cracking start too for Kasper Korjus, who slots into 2nd position. So it's Ludi and Korjus, the men who dominated practice in the early phase of yesterday. What a spectacle that is, though. A standing start here at Cartodroma Valencia. But it's Ludi in front of Korjus as they battle away in the early stages through the sweepers. 3rd position is the 6:15, I believe that is, that's come through. That is Nicolas Robassa, who's launched straight up into 3rd position from his point on 8th on the grid. And already the battle is raging as the drivers work their way around the circuit. Now, how's Carlos Leon getting on? Well, I believe he is now battling to hold his position in the mid-pack, actually. He's really struggling at this point. But he will get up to speed. Don't forget, this is his first ever race in the class, as up into 2nd place goes Robassa. Robassa makes the move on Kasper Korjus. And out in front, it is Kevin Ludi. Bye-bye, everybody, as he disappears into the distance. Robassa is there in 2nd place. Korjus is about to be overtaken by Petimagi. Petimagi on the inside, and Petimagi gets past Kasper Korjus. So Stendorian Petimagi now into 3rd position, and up the inside. That's going to be a brave move, but it's there from the 6:12 of Philip Siva. Philip Siva gets through past Kasper Korjus. Korjus is going backwards. They're all going through, and he joins up at the back of the queue in 8th place. And Joao Diaz has gone off the circuit at turn 3. So Joao Diaz on the Birolot has unfortunately overshot at turn 3 and spun the kart. He gets going again, but that is definitely going to hamper his chances as Kasper Korjus finds himself down in 8th position at the back of the field. Meanwhile, Kevin Ludi is disappearing into the distance. Look at him go. Kevin Ludi is absolutely dominant in the lead of this race. Out he goes. No worries at all. Robassa in 2nd. 3rd is the 6:37 of Petimagi. Then it's Siva, Carlos Leon, Bifiga, Ramoanti, and Kasper Korjus has pitted. So clearly the reason he dropped back into 8th position is because he has a mechanical difficulty. So that is a disaster for Kasper Korjus. His race looks to be over already. And now Joao Diaz passes the pit. So Kasper Korjus, the man who was fastest in practice for both of yesterday's early sessions. The Estonian, yes, Kasper Korjus is out of the race. He climbs out of the cart and it's game over. What a shame for Kasper Korjus. Set the early pace in yesterday's early practice, but now, ever since qualifying yesterday, his whole weekend has just dissipated into smithereens. While his main rival, the Swiss ace Kevin Ludi, is dominating out in front from Robassa, and in 3rd position it is still Stendorian Petimagi of Estonia. Ludi, Robassa, Petimagi, Siva, Leon, Ramo and Bifiga, with Joao Diaz in 8th place, a little further back after his off at turn 3. Great racing as they continue to battle away. And more problems, I think, for Joao Diaz as he's falling a little bit further back. His lap times are not great. I wonder if that off might be the reason why he's a little bit off the pace. But Kevin Ludi leads the way here. Nicolas Robassa and Stendorian Petimagi in 2nd and 3rd position. Desperately trying to close up on Kevin Ludi, but this man knows his super shifters like he knows the back of his hand. And it's going to be very tough indeed for him to lose this lead. It's going to be even tougher for the 6 men directly behind him trying to close down the gap. But Kevin Ludi for X-Spirit Racing, way out in front and loving life out in the lead of this race on a Saturday drive in the Spanish countryside. 2nd place, it is Nicolas Robassa from Stendorian Petimagi. Philip Siva, Carlos Leon trying to close up on him now. Carlos Leon trying to dive to the inside. Not quite close enough. But that looked to me as though Antti Ramo was under some pressure there from Michael Bifiga. So Bifiga, the Japanese, is trying to make his way through. Michael Bifiga under Swiss license, but Japanese in origin. Trying his best to work his way forward, and it's not really going to happen at the moment. But out in front, it is the Swiss ace, Kevin Ludi, who just continues out in the lead of this one. A very frustrated Estonian rival, Kasper Korjus, in the pit lane. His race already over. And as we are now on lap 5 out of 10, Kevin Ludi comes down the back straight, flat on the throttle through those 2 right flicks. It must be an amazing feeling to be on the power all the way down that back straight and into those double right apexes. But now Carlos Leon is stepping up the attack on Philip Seaver. May he get an opportunity into the first corner. Oh, well defended from Seaver. He just moves across a little on the line, and that's enough to stop Carlos Leon coming through. Brilliant bit of defensive driving there from Philip Seaver. Not enough to slow him up, but enough to block Carlos Leon's challenge in the first turn. Really good racing behind as well from Antti Ramo and Michel Biffiger. So Antti Ramo and Michel Biffiger battling away for that 6th position. This is what I'm talking about. Even though we haven't got many of them on the grid, the racing is still fantastic. And it looks to me as though Nicolas Rohrwasser has not given up on Kevin Ludi either. Rohrwasser, his lap times are getting faster. He was quicker than Kevin Ludi in both the first and second splits. So Rohrwasser is actually closing up on Kevin Ludi a little bit, but is it going to be enough to overhaul him with 4 laps to go? Across the line goes Ludi. Rohrwasser comes through faster in the 3rd sector by 0.2 of a second. So he is gaining ground big style on Kevin Ludi. Is he going to lose ground? That's going to be the real question, because Ludi doing a good job in front of Nicolas Rohrwasser. But if Rohrwasser can get close enough to challenge, that's going to be the big one. And now, what's really going to be interesting as well is that they're closing up to lap the Portuguese driver, Joao Diaz. Now, if they get close enough, that could actually impede Ludi or Rohrwasser. And if one of them gets impeded, the other one gets a chance of the victory. Even though we've got 4 laps to go, it could still all play a part in it. Meanwhile, the battle for 3rd position is very intense between Pidemargi, Seaver and Leon, as Seaver and Leon are trying to close up on Stentori and Pidemargi. I don't think Diaz is going to cause a problem now for Ludi. He's being shown the blue flag. He will know that the leaders are coming. He goes, waves them through on the inside, waves Ludi through, certainly on the inside. Will he stay to the left in the hope that Rohrwasser gets through? Well, yes, Rohrwasser does get through. I don't know if he lost any time or not. I think he's all right, actually. Nicolas Rohrwasser still close enough to Ludi to cause a challenge. And he moves right over and lets the entire field go through. He knew he needed to do that under the blue flags, so he does so. So Joao Diaz still learning the kart, of course. It's a real baptism of fire for the young Portuguese star, Joao Diaz, as he continues to race away around the circuit. But he's doing a good job. Kevin Ludi in the lead of this one, in front of the 2nd place ace, Nicolas Rohrwasser, desperately trying to close up on him. 3rd place is still up for grabs with 3 to go. Stentori and Pidemargi, Philip Seaver and Carlos Leon still racing together. Carlos Leon trying to get closer to move further forward. And is that Carlos Leon now in 4th place? I think it is, actually. Yes, that is Carlos Leon, having got into 4th position. So Leon has got past Seaver and moves up into 4th position. So now Leon is set on the attack of Stentori and Pidemargi. Carlos Leon's getting very close to Pidemargi as they come off turn 1, through the turn 2 flick and into the S's. Left, right. Carlos Leon's moving for the move on the inside of Pidemargi. Oh, good defense again from Stentori and Pidemargi. Blocking very hard indeed on the inside. There comes Stentori and Pidemargi, and they've got to be careful because back in 5th place, Philip Seaver is going to tighten up his grip on the chance to go for 3rd place as well. With 2 to go, 3rd place is right up for grabs as Stentori and Pidemargi, Carlos Leon and Philip Seaver battle for position in 3rd place. Onto the back straight. Kevin Ludi, I think, is fine and safe and dandy for victory. Nicolas Rohrwasser is closing, but not enough. And Ludi has started opening up the taps in the last couple of laps anyway. So he's just securing his position out in front. But look at the battle for 3rd position. Here comes Carlos Leon alongside Stentori and Pidemargi, swarming about all over the place as Philip Seaver tries to get in there as well. Pidemargi defends beautifully to the inside line. Carlos Leon and Stentori and Pidemargi battling away for 3rd place, with Philip Seaver in 5th, just waiting for an opportunity. Stentori and Pidemargi defending all over the place. And here comes Seaver on the inside of Carlos Leon, doesn't get through, and that's going to allow Antti Ramo and Michel Biffiger to close up. In fact, now it's Biffiger into 6th position in front of Antti Ramo, and these 5 will battle for 3rd position. You don't need many super shifters to make a great race. You just need great super shifter racers, and we've got 5 of them battling for 3rd place right now. Stentori and Pidemargi, Carlos Leon, and the man in 5th position, Philip Seaver. Being caught now by Michel Bifiga and Antti Ramo. Out in front, Kevin Ludi is going to take the victory in the checkered flag. I'm keeping my eyes firmly fixed on this third place battle in case it changes. Carlos Leon with one last chance. It's going to be Kevin Ludi who wins it. Nicolas Robasa in second place. And in third, it will be Stentorian Petamagi in front of Carlos Leon. With Philip Siva being caught there right at the end by Michel Bifiga. But he doesn't change positions. And in seventh place is Antti Ramo in front of the Portuguese star in the Biralat chassis. Joao Diaz, who I do believe in the end actually pitted and retired from the race. But what a spectacular victory it is in the end then for Kevin Ludi, who controls the pace of the race throughout. Won by 2.7 seconds, the biggest winning margin of anybody so far today in front of his countryman Nicolas Robasa. Stentorian Petamagi, though, the Estonian, great racing from Petamagi as he hangs on to that third position in front of Carlos Leon and Philip Siva, with Michel Bifiga in sixth position and seventh place for Antti Ramo. And that's not a bad way to start the X30 Super Shifters. You don't need many to make a great race. You just need great racers. And we certainly have enough of those here in the X30 Super Shifters. Good job from Kevin Ludi. And starts his day the way he means to go on with a fantastic victory. Really good work.